Let's do ESPN because we can do that one real quick. And
Okay.
baseball. I just think that ESPN thought it was a bad deal. I think
Mhm.
baseball, look, if you think about it, what works on a national level
Well,
with
let,
ESPN?
let's set the parameters, because I think what's interesting is the comparison, which is
Yeah.
the money difference between the NBA amount ESPN is paying out versus what was the baseball option. So can we set that up and then breeze through it with your takes?
Yeah, so essentially, ESPN decided that they didn't want to pay $550 million a year for Major League Baseball. They had a previous deal
Yep.
that they were paying even more. They were broadcasting 90 games a year. In 2021, that went down to 30 games per year. So they were already kind of inching their way out of the baseball business. And then they looked at it and they said, okay, we're only paying like $150 million less than Fox, but Fox gets the World Series, the League Championship Series, the League Division Series. They get the Field of Dreams game. They get all this other stuff in
Yeah.
addition to the regular season package. So you're looking at it and you're like, okay, this is just a really bad deal. Our business is already declining in value. Like, why are we doing this? So they went to Rob Manfred and they said, look, we want to lower our fee, or we want more inventory. There's not a ton more inventory to give out, so he can't do that. He doesn't want to lower their fee because that makes the business less money. So then now he's going to go out and try to get more money from someone else and sell this package. But saying they mutually agreed to part ways was hilarious to me because
Yeah.
the mutual agree was we're out, and baseball said, okay, that sucks. See you later. Right. There was nothing mutual about this. ESPN didn't want to do it and they had an opt out and they canceled it. But
that
I think
reminds me of the Norm Macdonald on SNL after he'd been fired 2 years earlier, where he said to the audience, and I can't do Norm's impeccable delivery, but it was this, yeah, we had a disagreement. I still wanted to work here. And it turned out they felt the exact opposite way.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, but continue.
That's exactly what happened though, right? And sure, look, Rob Manfred did the smart thing, which was he spun it in his letter to MLB owners, which conveniently got leaked immediately when it was sent, saying ESPN is a bad partner. They don't ever talk about baseball. Their business is declining. We want to go find someone else. And I literally saw baseball fans all over Twitter saying, this is awesome, huge W for Manfred. Like, he did the right thing. ESPN sucks. And like, sure, some of that is true. They certainly don't talk about baseball. They talk about football and basketball, and that's what their network is. But at the same time, like, this says a lot about baseball too, where you can't even get your current partners who signed a deal to stick around because the sport isn't growing like it used to be. And I think to that point is that baseball is just a regional sport, right? And every sport is sort of regional to a degree, but certain sports have national aspects to it, right? In football, it's the quarterback discussion. In basketball, it's LeBron James. There are certain national aspects that you can discuss on that level that transcend different regions. Baseball doesn't have that, right? Like, sure, Shohei Ohtani maybe, but that's more international than it is national here. The average sports fan in America still doesn't really care about Ohtani. I'm sorry, but they just don't. The Yankees, Red Sox used to be like that, but it's not really like that anymore. And ESPN wants national things, and baseball just really isn't like that anymore. Basketball gives you a ton of inventory, sort of like baseball, but it's still national to a degree because of some of the culture stuff going on there. And I think ESPN just said, we don't want to do that anymore. See you later.
Yeah, I think part of me believes that if baseball was emphasized, it could be different. That if ESPN approached it and gave it its publicity and tried to harness this Ohtani thing, tried to harness what the Yankees are, now what the Mets are increasingly, they could almost set the agenda, but they're not going to take that risk. And I think they believe in the downward trajectory of baseball. They believe that it's getting grayer and just more relevant. And they don't talk about it nationally. And I feel both ways about it. I feel in a way that baseball is underrated as a national commodity. Many people in our industry wouldn't know that the World Series is more watched than the NBA Finals in recent years. But at the same time, for whatever reason, as you've said, there's a regionality to it, and it doesn't work if you're on a sports talk show and they're talking about baseball. It just doesn't. And that is the reality.